Once again, pleased to have the governor of Louisiana, John Bel Edwards, joining us for a little bit. Governor, thank you for taking time. How are you today?
Good morning, Robert. I'm doing fine. I hope you and Aaron are as well.
Thank you, sir. Let us start with the occurrences of this week. I guess 37,000 letters have gone out from the Louisiana Department of Health to nursing home residents saying that, bluntly put, they may need to find another place to live pretty soon because the state doesn't have any money. If you would, walk us through the meetings that led up to that decision, i.e., has this been on your radar for a while, or is this something that came up recently? Rebecca Gee knocks at the door and says, Governor, we got some bad news.
No. Well, first of all, it's not just nursing homes. It's mostly nursing homes. You got the number of letters right, but there are also some individuals who are receiving home or community-based services who would also lose their eligibility under the current budget that was passed by the House. No, this wasn't something new. In fact, if you will recall, when we had the special session in February, we specifically said then that we were calling the session early because we couldn't fix the budget in the regular session because it's not a fiscal session, and that if we didn't fix it before the fiscal session, we would get too close to the year, and we would be forced, not just us, to send notices out to individuals saying that the funding wasn't there for their programs to continue, but also we would have our partner hospitals sending us notices that they would likely close the doors on July 1st and have to send notices out to their employees. So that has happened around the state of Louisiana as well. There wasn't anything hidden about this. It was discussed publicly, most recently, in fact, by me personally in front of the in front of the Senate Finance Committee. But you can go back to the House Appropriations Committee meetings, to the Senate Finance Committee meetings in front of the Joint Legislative Committee on the budget, and it was always discussed as something that would have to happen because there is a legal requirement to change rules around the eligibility if you don't have the funding. The rule changes require public notice, and so it's unfortunate that we are where we are. I still think we can and should fix the problem before July 1st, but if that doesn't happen, we have a legal and moral obligation to let people know what lies ahead and give them an opportunity to find services through another program that they may be qualified for, eligible for, and that is mandatory.
You're hearing folks are saying you're playing chicken. These are scare tactics. If the budget of DH budget is funded at 93%, which we're told by lawmakers on both sides of the aisle, that you could have found the 7% somewhere else less harmful to the public.
Aaron,
can you answer that?
Yeah, well, first of all, they are misleading you and the public if that's what they're saying. And I haven't heard anybody on the Democratic side saying that. I cannot take Medicaid expansion money and give it to nursing homes. I can't take Medicaid expansion money and give it to your hospital. I can't take Medicaid expansion money and give it to your medical school. And so they are comparing apples to oranges, and they know it. And they are saying these things, and they know better. If they don't know better, they're incompetent. If they know better, then they are deliberately misleading.
What else was on the table as far? Did you have options about what could be cut?
No. See, this is. I'm glad you used the word option. Within the Medicaid program, you have mandatory components, meaning if a state is going to have a Medicaid program, the federal government tells you must do these things. Then there are other parts of it that are optional. You cannot, by definition and by law, cut the mandatory components of your Medicaid program. And by the way, these funding things are in line items in the budget. The legislature appropriates money on line items. I don't have the ability to move those dollars from one line to another. And in a line that goes to LDH for Medicaid, I have no option but to fund the mandatory components, and if there's not enough then to fund the optional components, then that's where the cuts are. Now, we need to fix this problem because what the House of Representatives, and I think what the Senate is about to prove, is what we've been saying all along. There is not enough revenue in the forecast for next year to fashion a responsible budget, one that funds in a reasonable way our critical priorities, such as these health care items, such as your hospital right there. And when they were on the floor of the House of Representatives passing the budget, they were acknowledging that these cuts were being made. And now they want to distance themselves from them, acting like they had nothing to do with it.
Do you expect the Senate to fix this budget and the two sides to come to an agreement?
No. It cannot be fixed. There's not enough revenue to just move it around and fashion a budget that's worthy of our people. They're not going to fix it. We've known this all along. We've known for 2 years this cliff was coming on June 30th. They've had two sessions, a regular fiscal session last year and a special session earlier this year to fix it. Not a single bill in either session came out of the House of Representatives to fix the cliff. And so we are where we are, and it's $648 million. And that's the cuts that we would have to absorb right now. And it's simply too much. Now we can fix it. And by the way, y'all should know this, and I hope all your listeners know this. We can give a $400 million reduction in the net tax burden of the state of Louisiana. Not only can we, that has been my plan all along, and we can fund our budget. None of these Medicaid cuts that you're talking about would happen. We would fund the medical school in Shreveport and New Orleans. We would fund all of our partner hospitals, especially the one in Shreveport and Monroe. And we don't have to make these cuts. And by the way, we'll fully fund TOPS too.
Mm-hmm. Lawmakers are saying that the current regular session could end as early as the 18th, i.e., I think that's next Friday. How soon after that do you want them in special session?
Well, I actually met with the Speaker and the President yesterday to confirm our previous discussions, and they still believe that they should adjourn on or about the 18th, and the discussion was to the effect that we would likely start the special session on Tuesday the 22nd.
Pardon me, Governor, if you previously we've had special sessions,
yeah,
and would it be fair to say that they have somewhat frustrated you that you haven't gotten what you wanted from them, and the makeup of the legislature hasn't changed? How is another special session going to change anything?
Well, first of all, it's not me that's frustrated; it's the people of Louisiana who are frustrated. Secondly, they now have looked at a budget. They always said that we wouldn't need revenue and we could put together a budget that would serve the people adequately. They now know that's not the case. They've seen a budget that absolutely has catastrophic cuts in it across the budget. TOPS is not fully funded. Health care is decimated. There are cuts all across. And so now that they know that is the reality of the situation, it would be my expectation that they would come back in and deal with reality. The other part of this is, if you will recall, on the day the House actually passed the budget, a number of the members who voted for it, in fact, leaders in the House of Representatives, went to the floor to say that there would be another special session to raise revenue to fix the holes that had been identified.
Let's talk about the raise in revenues. Do you want to keep the full penny on? Do you want to make it permanent?
Well, first of all, I would not say it's a raise in revenues because we have $1.4 billion expiring, and I'm not trying to keep $1.4 billion. There will be a net tax reduction from this year to next. And I am open, just as I was before, to keeping a portion of the fifth penny in place in order to address this $648 million fiscal cliff.
What other increases, what other changes that would address this $600 million deficit?
Well, Aaron, in all the conversations I've had with legislators, including in my meeting with the Speaker and the President yesterday, we acknowledged that there aren't options that we haven't had before. I mean, there isn't anything new to put on there. You clean the 4 pennies that we keep because there's 168 exemptions on those, and you clean those to look more like the fifth penny we created. You keep a portion of the fifth penny. You maintain the reduction in tax credits and rebates and deductions that were enacted in 2015. You take that sunset off of those and let those go forward. And when you do that, you're getting very, very close. And there are several other options, but none of them will be new. And when we meet in special session on or about the 22nd, they won't have anything new to consider. But we've known this for a good long while. But the expectation is that there will be a greater sense of urgency because they now know the budget is inadequate. and we are that much closer to June 30th when this cliff hits. And so the inaction we've seen in the last two sessions, I would hope, gives way to a concerted effort for legislators to work in good faith to fix the problem.
Governor, you running for re-election?
You know I am. Absolutely.
Governor John Bel Edwards, thanks for your time this morning.
Okay.
Look forward to doing it again soon.
Okay, thank you.